Well, welcome to another edition of the Monday Money Tip. We're trying to help your Mondays be a little bit better by sharing a practical and realistic money tip that you can apply to your finances and help you take your finances to another level. Hi, my name is Joseph Sengel, and I'm the founder of I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, and it's a pleasure to be able to serve you along your money journey. Today I'm going to talk about something that you hear a lot about, particularly if you're a citizen of the United States of America, but it's something that's impacting nations around the world, and that is national debt. And today I just wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about why you, yes you, should care about the United States national debt. Many times you hear this thrown about that the national debt is soaring, that it's all these trillions of dollars, and many people wonder why that matters to them and why should you care about it. Well, let me tell you a few reasons why I feel like you should care about the United States national debt. Number one reason is the borrower is servant to the lender. What is true for you individually is true for any nation, and that is when you choose to borrow money, then that makes you subject to the whims of the lender. If you borrow money from the bank to buy a house and you choose or you are unable to repay that bank, they will make you leave your house and you will lose your house, and that will interrupt and disturb and disrupt your life. The same is true for a nation. When a nation chooses to borrow money in order to spend more than they have coming in, it will result in them being a servant to whoever they borrowed that money from. And you should know that the U.S. government is borrowing money. They're borrowing money from its citizens through bonds. They're also borrowing from other nations and other nationalities. So I encourage you to understand that the nation is borrowing money from other nations and from its citizens, and as a result, it makes our nation be beholden to whatever the whims are of those lenders. That's a big deal. Another reason that you should care about the national debt is that it increases your taxes and it decreases your benefits. In other words, when the nation is in debt, it has to pay more money in interest. How do they get money? Through taxation. So if they owe more money on debt, then they have one way to pay for that, and that is to increase taxes. And if more money is going towards paying interest on debt, then it necessarily decreases benefits. It means less money for roads, less money for infrastructure, less money for programs that build up the economy, less money for health care. It literally decreases your benefits. This is a big deal. And then ultimately, out of control spending yields one thing, and that is default. And we've seen this with a few countries over the past few years, but ultimately what happens in your own life, if you cannot satisfy all of the lending obligations that you have made, then you will default, called bankruptcy. And when bankruptcy happens, there is when an outside entity says, hey, you have to do this, this, and this. You have to sell your house. You have to sell your possessions. You have to move. You cannot spend more money than this on these things because you're going to have to satisfy these parts of your debt. That's what happens to a nation. We've literally seen some nations literally take a haircut off of people's savings accounts and say, you had this much money in the banks? Well, 10% of it is going to the government. Literally, they took money that was private citizens' money to pay. Why? Because the nation had defaulted on debt. So here's what I want you to know. It matters for our next generations. Let's ask a question. This is a question I'm asking myself. Would I rather my generation fix our nation's debt problem, or would I rather hand it off to my children and my grandchildren? And I don't know about you, but personally, I would rather my generation take care of this mess, fix it so that we can hand off a strong nation to our children's children. Hey, I hope this is giving you a pause to think. It's Monday, and the way that you can fix this is through several ways. Number one, you can write to your local representative, to Congress, and to the Senate. You can write them. You can go to the Senate.gov. You can go to the House of Representatives website. You can find your representative and you can write them a letter saying, I am in support of having a balanced budget. I'm in support of the government spending less than it brings in, and that can help. I also urge you to vote. Whenever it's an opportunity to vote, become an informed voter. and make sure that that person is got a record of voting for a balanced budget and one in which our nation manages its finances in a way that's honorable and in a way that allows us to fulfill our commitments to not only ourselves and the citizens, our fellow citizens, but to our children's children. Hey, I hope this has been helpful. Listen, soaring debt will be passed on to future generations. If we don't fix it, it will be passed on. I don't want that. And so I encourage you to check out my website at josephsangle.com. I blog on that website regularly. I write about topics that are of interest for personal finances, and I do share updates on the U.S. national debt and my thoughts on that. I encourage you to check it out. Hey, I hope this Monday Money Tip has been helpful to you and that it's helped you be fired up to go do something and make sure you vote every time that the polls are open. Have a great day and a great week. Get fired up.